Hey there, it's Leona. Welcome to Zen Mindfulness Shodo. Today, we're gonna practice Shodo meditation while focusing on the Katakana character for A. So, let's begin our beautiful journey together. When you write a character, imagine a square about the size of the character that you are gonna write like this. First, I'm gonna write it. Then I'm gonna explain the points and tips for writing the character beautifully in detail. Alright, now I'm gonna explain the points and tips for writing this character beautifully. The first stroke starts from the center point of the top left square, or point slightly to the left of it. You place the brush at a 45-degree angle while holding it straight up. Before you move the brush to the right, lightly push the brush towards the tip of it in order to stabilize the brush. After you stabilize the brush, this stroke moves to the right until the middle vertical line is in the middle of the stroke. This stroke looks more beautiful when it gets thinner as it moves to the right. When the middle vertical line is in the middle of the stroke, you place the brush at a 45-degree angle, and then, like the starting point of the stroke, lightly push the brush towards the tip of it in order to stabilize the brush. After you stabilize the brush, the stroke scoops downward to the left at about a 45-degree angle while curving down and getting thinner. The end point of the stroke is to the right of the middle vertical line and higher than the middle horizontal line. When the stroke scoops downward to the left, try to keep the space between the horizontal line and the diagonal line bigger. If you do that, the character looks more beautiful. The reason that the horizontal part of the first stroke is curving up and getting thinner, and the diagonal part of it is curving down and getting thinner, is to create more space between those two lines. So when you create the first stroke, keep that in mind. Moving on to the second stroke. The starting point of the second stroke is a bit higher than the end point of the first stroke, along the middle vertical line. Same as the starting point of the first stroke, place the brush at about a 45-degree angle, and before you move the brush, like the turning point of the first stroke, lightly push the brush towards the tip of it and stabilize the brush. Then the stroke scoops almost straight down while curving to the right and getting thinner. The end point of the second stroke is at a height such that the space higher than the highest point of the first stroke and the space under the end point of the second stroke are almost the same size, until a point a bit to the left of the middle vertical line. The second stroke scoops downward to the left. It moves almost straight down, tracing the middle vertical line, and only the bottom part is pointing towards the bottom left direction. When the second stroke is standing straight up, the character looks more stable and balanced, and it looks more beautiful. I told you before that one of the points of creating the first stroke more beautifully is to keep the space between the horizontal line and the diagonal line bigger. For example, if you write like this, the space between the horizontal line and the diagonal line becomes too small and it looks more cramped. So, make the angle of the diagonal line about 45 degrees and make the horizontal line become thinner as it goes to the right. Another point is, as I said earlier, make sure that the second stroke is almost tracing the middle vertical line and only the bottom part is pointing towards the bottom left. For example, if you write like this, if you scoop the second stroke from the beginning point, then the whole character looks like leaning to the right instead of standing straight up. That's why it's important to make the second stroke almost like a vertical line. Alright, just keep these points and tips in mind when you practice. The key points and tips for writing katakana neatly, as explained in the video, are concisely summarized in this book. Each page allows you to practice one character. If you're interested, please see the description. When you practice with a brush, I recommend that you place a few pieces of paper under the page that you're writing on, so that the ink doesn't bleed onto the page under it. Alright, let's get started.